Hello friends, it's Marie here, and I am sharing the Spellbinders Sunday Drive die set with you today. Now this die set is really fun, really cute. You get to cut out this little vintage car here. You have all the dies that you need to piece this together. I'm showing you the dies here. I'm kind of lining them up the order they go in, but I'm also going to be showing you how I cut all of these pieces out and arranged them and glued them together to create these cute little cards. There's also other dies that go with this set. You've got some balloons, you have all the little accessories like the steering wheel, the tires that go on the bottom. You have this little rack here that you can put on the top of your car, and I'm not putting that on yet. You'll see it's not attached yet because there are little accessories that you can put in that little rack on top, like little gifts. If you want this to look like a birthday or a wedding type card, you can put some presents in there. You can tie balloons on there. Here's the little gift die. Those two little rectangles are the gift boxes, and there's a little bow that you can attach on there to make them look like gifts. You have this little die, which are the two rear view windows mirrors and then the rear view lights. So all these little dies that you cut out and piece together, I'm going to show you how to do that. There's also a few little words that you can cut out and stick on the back bumper there. You can see that it cuts out that trunk, so you could also open that up and have something inside, which is a really cute idea. I didn't do that today, but I just wanted to show you mainly how you cut and assemble your cars. Now I went ahead and I colored this Copic scene for my little red car here. I'm going to be making another card today with these dies, but first I want to show you how to cut them out. So you want to make sure to decide what color you want your car. I've done a red and a blue one already, and I'm making a pink one now for my card today. I'm cutting the body out and this little rectangular shape out of the pink, because those are both going to be parts of the body of the car. Now this little shape here with the curve on top, this is actually kind of the seat inside of the car, so I'm cutting that in a different color paper. I'm doing an ivory, so it looks like there's a little seat inside of there, and then you're just going to start to stack all of these up. Now I do like to go ahead and cut everything out first before adhering them together. That way, if I change my mind on a color that I want or something, I can just go ahead and cut another piece instead of having to try to start over or tear pieces off. Now I also have this shiny silver cardstock, and I love this cardstock for adding the embellishments and details like the bumper and the windshield and the rear view mirrors and everything. I think this shiny cardstock just works really, really well for the metal elements on these cars. So I'm just cutting those out and pulling them out of my cardstock. And I have my little tool-in-one tool from Spellbinders. And this is a really great tool when you're working with those tiny die cuts. You can just poke them out of those dies if the cardstock sticks in there. And if there's any little pieces that didn't come out of your die cleanly, you can use your little pokey tool and just poke those out. So it's a really handy tool when you're die cutting. Now I'm going to take this little die here, the steering wheel and the tires. I'm cutting that out of black because I want my tires to be black. And if you want your steering wheel to be a different color, you can just cut it again in a different color. But the black steering wheel I think looks really nice, and so I went with that. This also cuts out that little rack piece on top that I showed you in the beginning. I am going to go ahead and use a silver one, so I'm going to go and cut another one of these dies with that silver cardstock. But even though you cut extra pieces, you can always just save them, save your extra die cuts, and then just easily adhere a car together sometime down the line when you want to do a fast card or something. So save your die cut pieces. I do that all the time, and I just throw them on other cards if I'm, in a hurry or trying to get a project done quickly. So I'm starting to adhere my pieces together now that I have them all cut out, and you want to adhere the steering wheel onto that front dash before you adhere it to your body of your car. And so I'm doing the car, and then I adhered the seat piece in there, and now I'm putting the seat on top of that dash with the steering wheel. And you can always pause or go back in this video if you missed a step or if you need to see it again, so feel free to do that. But I'm just kind of starting to layer all of these pieces together. I'm using my journey glue, just putting a little dab of glue there and then holding it for a few seconds to let it dry and to really adhere together. Here's my windshield. I'm going to go ahead and glue that behind my dash and my steering wheel. You're going to have the steering wheel poking up a little bit in front of that windshield. I think that's really fun, adds some dimension. And if you're from Europe or a different country where your steering wheel is on the other side of the car, feel free to make that little adjustment if you want to. Mine is an American car, so mine is on the left side. So I'm also going to go ahead and adhere that bumper. I'm just putting that little strip of silver cardstock right on the bottom here. I really love that silver cardstock. It looks like a shiny metal bumper and it's so cute. So once that is adhered, now I'm going to take my little black pieces and adhere my tires. If you notice, there are sides of these tires that's a little bit more curved. I put the curved side to the outside. You could probably do it either way, but I was thinking the curve on the outside looks a little bit more like a tire, but it's not going to mess anything up if you switch them. I just try to make sure to notice that both of my pieces are facing the same way so it looks the same. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere those little rear view mirrors on the sides, putting a little bit of glue right there on the edges, and I'm going to glue those behind my dash that has the steering wheel attached to it. So I just put a little bit of glue there and I'm just pushing my cardstock onto those mirrors. And while the glue is still wet, you can wiggle them around a little bit, get them exactly placed where you want them before the glue dries. So I'm adding my little rear view lights or my backup lights or whatever you call them. You can see there's a little piece in the center that you can pop out and then you can go ahead and cut another color and add that into the inside. Now you can leave it the same color if you want. You can put white, black, whatever color you want your tail lights. I think they're called tail lights, right? Whatever color you want your tail lights to be. I did go ahead and cut out some red cardstock for my tail lights, but I've also taken some Nuvo drops before and just dropped a little bit of color in there for a little bit of dimension. So there's different things you can do with those tail lights. I think they're really fun. If you want to get really creative, maybe you can get some of those, battery lights to make a light up card and poke a hole behind these tail lights to have them light up. I think that would be really fun. You might need a little bit of engineering to do that, but I think that would be a fun idea as well. So I'm taking these really tiny pieces of cardstock cut out of red paper and I'm just nestling them in there in those tail lights to make it look like the lights on the back of the car. And that's pretty much how you assemble this car. There are other accessories that you can cut out and dress this up a little bit, but this is the main basic body of the car. If you wanted to know how to cut all those pieces and assemble them, that is how you do it. So I'm moving on with my card. I'm making my background and I'm just taking a circle die from Spellbinders and cutting out a piece of masking paper, and this is going to create a circle mask that I'm going to put on to my card base. Now I want this circle to be in the middle. It's not going to be exact, but I'm going to try to center it the best that I can and stick this masking paper down. I find that it's easy to peel off one side of the masking paper to get it positioned correctly and then peel off the other side of the paper. That way if it sticks where it's not supposed to, you can peel it up easier and it doesn't get all wrinkly if some of your paper grabs onto your cardstock before you're ready for it to adhere down. So I'm going to do some ink blending now. I want this to look like a sunset, so that our little car is kind of riding off into the sunset. So I'm just going to use 3 colors of ink here. I'm using Squeezed Lemonade, or is it Squeezed Lemon? I think it's Squeezed Lemonade. Anyway, it's Distress ink, and you all probably are familiar with the colors. The next color that I'm using is Abandoned Coral. It's a pinky kind of red, and so I'm just going to blend that right over my yellow. And then I'm coming in with some purple, and I believe this is Wilted Violet, or maybe it's Seedless Preserves. I think this one is Seedless Preserves. Might have to go back and check, but I will have the products linked below. You can go through that list of products if you're interested in any of these items. So I'm just showing you a little sampling of my ink blending today. I did go back over several times, did several layers of ink to get a really nice smooth ink blending circle. But I'm just giving you a quick look today because I mainly wanted to focus on how to cut and assemble the dies for this Sunday Drive die set. So I'm taking some Fun Stampers Journey Sparkle Silk, and I love this stuff. It's so sparkly, and I like to add splatters. So I'm just picking up a little bit with a water brush, and I'm going to splatter it onto the top of this circle, just making it look like maybe some little stars are coming out as the sun is setting. I just love adding splatters with my water brushes. I think it just looks really fun, and a little bit of shine is always a good idea on your cards. So now I'm ready to peel off that mask, and I love how crisp the edges are on this circle. I think it really is a focal point and looks great. Now I did get a little bit of ink on the side there where my masking paper did not cover that edge. So I'm going to take one of my Spellbinders rectangle dies and just die cut the front of this card. Now this rectangle die does adhere over a card base, an A2 size card base, perfectly. So it's going to give me a really nice layering piece for my card base. I tried to make sure it was centered there, that the circle was centered, so that when I cut it out, I'll have a really nice centered card. So now that I have that cut out, everything is dry, I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my little car on. Now you saw how I made the car. I also added some little embellishments and accessories like the little balloons here. I added the presents in the rack on the back, and I'm going to pop the balloons up with some foam adhesive, but the body of the car I'm just going to adhere down with some more of that Journey liquid glue. So I have all of my adhesive on my car, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it down. I decided to kind of tilt it a little bit so it looks like it's a little bit angled, and after I got this on here, it almost looked like the car was flying off into the sunset instead of driving, and it made me think of that old movie. I think it's The Absent-Minded Professor. I don't know if any of you have seen that. It's an old black and white movie, but there was some kind of flying car, I remember, so it made me think of that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my red car onto my Copic scene with some foam adhesive, and that just kind of gives you a look at how to assemble these dies and how to put them onto a background for a card. And there's so many cute things you can do with this die set. I think it's just adorable. So thanks for stopping by today. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, and do all the things. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.